Hello, Guardians. Welcome back to Tower Casuals, the Destiny podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Corey Derrick, and alongside me, as always, is the Jotun Toten, Vault Dwelling, Mayor of the Deepstone Crypt, my favorite co-host on the Citadel, the Disciple, and the lightsaber-wielding Josh Finney.
Ooh. Happy May 4th, even though it's May 5th.
Revenge of the 5th? 6th?
So, like, I never got online with Revenge of the 5th because that just makes it sound like you have a lisp.
Yeah.
And I don't like that. I kind of feel like that's, like, insulting towards somebody who actually has a lisp. So I really try to not do that. But, man, Star Wars Day was yesterday. I spent a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah. We bought Christmas gifts yesterday for each other. Chelsea and I bought Christmas gifts in May.
Yeah.
Because we're like, if we're spending money, these things are getting put away. I say that knowing full well that the shirt that I bought is coming in the mail in 2 days, and I'm 100% wearing it when it comes. Maybe next week. It was one of their designs for May 4th at Disney, and it's got half Mando helmet, half Boba Fett helmet.
Oh, nice.
And I got Chelsea a Rogue One themed Spirit jersey.
Ooh, nice.
It says "May the Force be with us" on the back. Kind of looks like it's like Scarif themed almost.
Ooh, that's cool.
A couple pins for my cork board,
nice.
And the Razor Crest, a Christmas ornament for my Christmas tree.
Nice.
You press the button down on it and it plays the Mando theme.
Nice.
I will install the batteries, and I don't know if I'm allowed to bring it on the show because it came in and I like took it out of the box. And she just stared at me and she's like, "What are you doing? This is a Christmas present. It's a Christmas ornament." And then I couldn't get it back in the box correctly. So it's just like kind of hanging out on my counter.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice.
It's nice. But it's good. It's May 4th. It was May 4th this week. I got
they
some.
Dropped that Obi-Wan trailer too.
The Obi-Wan trailer is dope as fuck. I can't wait. Two episodes are going to drop on the 27th. I'm very excited for that. Jedi Fallen Order 2 is probably getting teased at Celebration. There's one more panel we don't know about. Cassian Andor is going to get a trailer this month. Bad Batch. Oh, man. I'm ready. Moon Knight ended this week. It's been a great week, Corey.
I know. Yeah. Also, you bought your Moon Knight skin on Fortnite?
I bought a Moon Knight skin on Fortnite. I bought that with his also his moon sickles. Let's see
Did you see that? Well, we talked a little bit that Scarlet Witch is coming, but did you see that the Halo and Gear skins are back on the store?
No! Oh no, Corey, no!
Yeah,
I'm gonna spend so much. Okay, so guys, I've been going through a crisis of confidence. Okay, this is a safe space. I'm going to talk about it. I have played a lot of Fortnite in the last couple of weeks. I played Fortnite one time before this, and it was back when I want to say it was like way back when The Last Jedi came out, because I somehow inexplicably had Kylo Ren's TIE Fighter as a glider in the game when I logged in. So I'm just like, I don't know what to do here. I'm frustrated. All the Star Wars stuff is gone. Then it all comes back into the store this week. And I really agonize. Do I buy the Kylo Ren skin? Do I buy the First Order, like, lightning battalion? Because that can be your pickaxe. Like, do I buy that? And it was like, no, I'm going to hold strong. Master Chief being back, I can't do it. Our friend Ray has been flexing on me with the Master Chief skin lately.
It's got to be because Season 2 launched this week, right? Probably, I'm assuming, for Halo.
I'm honest. So if they just got added to the store today, I'd say it's because Fortnite's coming to cloud gaming.
Oh yeah, that's true too.
Because if they added both Halo and Gears back,
I want the Kate skin, but I don't. It's a good thing I'm not into Fortnite because I'd be super poor, and
I'm not into Fortnite, but I'm very rapidly getting there with zero build. I'm actually genuinely enjoying it, because that was always my problem with it. I never cared about the building aspect, and I just thought that was like kind of bullshit. But I've really been enjoying. Ray and I have been running around doing duos. going in with a squad, some trios. It's been a lot of fun. I will never play it solo, but it was a lot of fun with friends. It just gets completely bonkers. And I mean, nothing beats a 4-way fight between Moon Knight, Master Chief, Kratos, and like Leon Kennedy. It's fucking wild what you can have in some of these squads. Like, I don't think anybody uses the actual Fortnite skins, like the characters. It's all the pop culture characters. It's all the fun ones.
Yeah. I mean, but that's how they get
I
their
am
money, though,
kicking
right?
myself that I can never get the Mando skin now, though, because that was part of a season pass.
I
They're
bet
gonna
they
have to do
sell
some
it at
kind of
some
legacy
point.
pass. Them and Bungie, Epic and Bungie, got to sit down and bring back past season passes.
Remember that rumor that Zavala was going to come to Fortnite at one point?
I do remember. I do not think that's a rumor. I think that is 100% happening at some point.
You think they're just going to put all like the main Destiny characters in there?
No, I think they would put 3 in. That seems to be like 2 to 3 seem to be what they put in at a time. I don't see any way that you do a skin pack in Fortnite that's Destiny themed without Cade being at the forefront.
Yeah, it's got to be Zavala, Cade, and Ikora probably, right? That would be like...
I would argue for them, but I at the same time, I think you could argue for Shaxx. Just because, like, everyone knows who Shaxx is because of his helmet.
Right.
You could argue Shaxx. You could argue Crow at this point. Maybe?
Yeah.
I would just love to see Oryx running around. Oryx or Crota running around. That'd be hilarious.
Oh my gosh.
But,
what if it's like a big Destiny event and like the entire map of Guardians have to take down like Oryx?
I would hate that because then I would never hear the fucking end of, why can't Destiny do this? Why did we have to go to Fortnite? This breaks the immersion of my KD. Yeah, no, I can't do that, man. Guardian games is enough for me to suffer through, Corey.
It's fair. It's fair.
Guardian but no, games. it really has been a great week. Made some progress, you know, had my last therapy appointment for the summer. Definitely had some things happen on the professional front that I can't talk about quite yet. I'm hoping I get to talk about them relatively soon. Some really cool opportunities coming my way. And yeah, man, it has genuinely been, it's been a great week. I'm ready to talk some Destiny.
Yeah, let's do that. I know people don't really care. People don't really care that we're talking about Fortnite, even though like neither of us play Fortnite like at all.
No, I have played more Fortnite in the last 2 weeks than I have in like the 4 years since it came out. But I digress. We're here to talk about.
I do have to say,
yes,
the last point on Fortnite. They have that Disney Infinity thing going on where they're taking all these properties and making them look like they belong together. And I loved when Disney Infinity did that.
Yeah.
And now that Fortnite is doing it, like, it's cool. I gotta say, it's cool. Big fan. I wish they'd just sell the figures, like the Fortnite figures of the skins.
They've done it with some of theirs.
I know, but I wish they would.
I don't know if they'll ever do the third-party ones, but
I just think it would be cool. And
yeah.
if you bought the figure, right, you charge a little bit extra for the figure and you get the skin. It would be cool.
Right.
But I digress. Let's talk Destiny.
We digress. It's Destiny time. So of course we're gonna kick it all off like we do every single week with the Schwab.
The
Schwab. To digress into serious mode for just a couple of minutes. Bungie came out this week. And you know, if you maybe don't live in the US or you know you have kind of been off social media for a few days, you know that some documents released from the Supreme Court this week concerning the majority opinion that Roe v. Wade will be overturned. We're not going to get into that, but Bungie came out, and the reason why we're bringing this up is because it's notable the stance that they've taken. You know, Bungie over the last several years has taken stands for Black Lives Matter, for trans lives, for the LGBTQ community, for Pride Month, for mental health, for inclusivity. Like Bungie always has something, right? And this is the latest stance that they've taken. And I'll leave it for we're not gonna discuss, Roe v. Wade on here, but just that they are unique among video game publishers as they did not skip a beat. It was just instantly like, no, like this is our studio stance, and basically people telling them, oh, stick to video games, and basically the social media manager telling them like as delicately as possible, fuck off. Like they went viral for a reason over it, and it was just because hey, listen, like we're not going, this is who we are unapologetically. If you don't like it, there is not a gun to your head saying you need to buy our products. Like, we are more than happy. Basically the tone was just like it was with the other initiatives that we said, like we are perfectly fine with losing money and losing customers if it means a more inclusive and a safe community for everybody, where we stick up for one another, where everybody is allowed to be their own person, make their own decisions without fear of reprisal or judgment or harassment. Like that is what Bungie wants to do with their community. So I'm bringing it up because it's right there at the top of the TWAB. I encourage you to go read the post that Bungie put up about it. And that's it. We're not discussing anymore. We're not going to sit here and have a 20-minute serious talk. Just kudos to Bungie again for doing, once again, taking the step that the industry needs to take. And it's pretty notable that all these other companies that rush to support these other initiatives like Bungie did have not followed suit on this one. They're trying to figure out how to navigate this. Maybe I don't know, but the silence is deafening right now. It's deafening. So Bungie continue to be standouts. I think literally right before we went live, BattleNet or ArenaNet, I don't remember which one, is like, yes, we also agree with this, but it's been like 48, 72 hours, something like that. So yeah, good on you, Bungie.
Yeah,
but Corey, unless you have anything to add, Corey.
Nope, I have nothing to add.
All right, we're moving on. Guardian Games is in full swing, guys. Corey,
Guardian Games.
If you had a chance, we're gonna circle back to Guardian Games. But have you had a chance to play with that new SMG?
No, I haven't had any chances to play, because like Tuesday I usually play. Yeah. I was on Secret Friends Unite on Tuesday. So
friend of the show, Todd Oxtra.
Yeah, Todd Oxtra. We have Mark the Canardian. It was a good time. We talked about Star Wars games.
Oh,
you should have been there, Josh.
I should have been there. I would have talked about Rogue Squadron for like a full hour.
Yeah.
Guardian Games is in full swing, though. Guys, Guardian Games has long been a punchline of the community and of this show. Anytime that we want to compare, like something horrible has gone wrong, we just compare it to Guardian Games 2020, and it probably fits the bill.
Probably.
We'll circle back to it because I do want to make that like kind of the focal point of our discussion now, and we'll have an addendum next week. But I just have a feeling the next 2 weeks are going to be so packed with subclass 3.0 information that this may be the only chance we get to talk about it. I saw a lot of people being like, "Oh man, I really hope that they do the gold badges like they did last year for the winning class that you can get on Bungie Rewards," and they did not do that this year. So congratulations, hunters are the only ones who ever get a gold badge out of this ever again.
Well, good for the hunters, right?
You can earn a tankard, which it's a beefy boy. It's a beefy boy. It's completely like, I don't know how you would. I don't think you can actually drink out of this. I'm not sure. This thing is just, it's filled with.
I bet you could if you tried.
You could if you tried. I just feel like the class symbols are gonna like dig into my palm as I'm holding that. But it's very ornate. It's probably very heavy. And then a wearable medal, which is inexplicably like the same price as the tankard on Bungie Rewards. And I'm like, well, that's cool for whoever wants it. It definitely is better than like the scarf and like flag ones that they did a few years ago.
That's fine.
I mean, but hey, it's there. It's there. I actually like admittedly may get like the tankard for my desk, but you should get it. I've bought so much from Bungie. Like if I don't have to get it, I can't get it at this point. Like I am in a 1-bedroom apartment, Corey. My desk is rapidly running out of room. It's a disaster over here. We're kind of flying through the swab. There's not a whole lot here. 9,000 words was not enough for Master Rahul. Twab before last was the Mega Ultra Chonker, but there were still questions. Here, Cosmo kind of goes in and explains a lot of terminology regarding flinch resistance, such as what is a damage scalar, airborne effectiveness. There were a lot of airborne effectiveness questions, precision aim assist, and there's some graphics here to help you out with some of that stuff. Scavenger perk changes. So I will say right now, like, because these are all really specific questions, I would encourage you to go through and read that as if it is a FAQ, because that's essentially what this is. This is getting into the minutia for like the really hardcore base, which I feel like, again, if you're listening to a Destiny pod, it probably appeals to you. But rather than me just rattle off a whole bunch of numbers and like questions that like I don't really know sometimes what it's pertaining to, like what sparked asking that question in the first place, I'm going to let you guys do a little bit of Sherlock Holmesing for us, and you guys go and read that if you had any questions remaining off those. I feel like we clarified it the best we could. So if you have questions, maybe pull up the FAQ and go back and listen to episode 89.
I like how like every couple bullet points there's like check our mega twab. There's a link to the big twab.
I mean, you basically have to. Like that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
I will say I think especially the section about scavenger perks, that's really good to clarify for people, because you inevitably are gonna have people mad that I picked up a green brick and I only got one shotgun shell. Well, go read the Mega Twab. That's why you're not getting more than one fusion bolt at a time. Like that's why you're getting all this stuff, and like they go into painstaking detail about this. And like, for example, I want to read one little section here, which is with disabling ammo scavenger mods in PvP, are you trying to bring back the double primary meta? No, we don't want double primaries to be more viable. Well, we do want them to be more viable and want fewer one-hit kills in PvP, but don't want to eliminate those entirely. You will still spawn with 2 rounds of special ammo or equivalent and still pick up ammo bricks, but you shouldn't be able to use a special weapon like a primary. That's the crux of the thing right there. Having like 8 shotgun shells and just running around one hit killing everybody, it feels really fucking bad when you're the person that keeps dying to that.
Mm-hmm.
It feels terrible. It's not fun, and that's why so many people hate the Crucible, right?
Right.
One interesting side effect may be an indirect buff to the strategy of running double primary to starve your opponents of special ammo drops, because you will only drop special ammo if you had special ammo on you when you died.
Right.
So keep that one in mind. Short range primary weapons will now are more of a role now. Sidearms and SMGs can better compete with shotguns. Thank God, I love sidearms, and they have not felt viable in quite some time. We've pushed the current PvP ammo system as far as we can with this change. If this doesn't move the needle, we'll look at redesigning the PvP ammo economy entirely, which would be a long-term change. And then the last question here, with scavenger mods disabled in PvP, there's little competitions for leg mod slots. What's the plan? We're keeping this in mind for future updates, but for now, we recommend you run those holster mods. Cool, whatever. I think this is what we all kind of expected when we read that. And there's a couple like little random question changes. And then weapon archetypes. There's some stuff about retrace path, about lightweight pulses, slug shotties, fusion spreads, damage fall for SMGs. My favorite question, and I really, really, really want to focus on this one, because this is a bone that I had to pick last week, as a matter of fact. Why did Summoner only come back for 2 seasons? Summoner, of course, you will remember, is the auto rifle currently available in Trials of Osiris. It came back this season, and it will be leaving at the end of the summer. At the end of season 17 is when it's leaving. We're adding 1 new weapon, 1 reissued weapon, and removing 2 old weapons from the Trials loophole each season, but we felt like only 1 brand new Trials weapon per season was not enough. Now that we're doing 2 new Trials weapons a season, we'd rather the pool contain mostly the newer weapons. I think that's a perfectly acceptable explanation, personally. Um, and now, like, especially with the new fusion coming back next season, Exile's Curse probably is not coming back. I would wager that this probably means that, short of selling them through Xur, you may not get some of these weapons ever again. Like, we have Aisha's Embrace is a new scout rifle over the Scholar, which was the original kinetic scout. So you were able to buy a fixed roll of that through Xur. I think if once a certain amount of time has passed and you've determined we're never going to put these back in the game, at least make those available and maybe let us earn the blueprints through trials or through turning in trials Ingrams, or, I mean, buying them with shards. I don't know. Like, I think there needs to be a way to keep these weapons in game, even if they're not viable anymore, just because, well, some of these weapons are going to leave without anybody ever getting to play them. Like Messenger. Messenger was back for a year and a half. Messenger's been here for a year and a half. If you haven't gotten a Messenger by now, I'm sorry. I feel really bad for you. Go win a couple rounds, as hard as that may be to do. Earn yourself a couple Ingrams, get a Messenger. Cannot recommend Messenger enough. Probably my favorite primary in the entire game. Like, it has carried me through so many. Every time I went to the lighthouse, Messenger took me there. So when you have things like that, but then you look at what the loot pool is going to be next season, it's going to be the Trial Sidearm. It's going to be the new Fusion. It's going to be Aisha's Embrace. It's going to be Summoner, before Summoner leaves, of course. Reed's Regret is going to be in there. But you're going to lose Messenger and Shaiuras, and that's okay. I think that's okay. Those two have been in the game long enough that if you want them, you have found a way to get them at this point. I feel bad for newer players, but that is just the reality of trying to keep playlist weapons fresh and it not be too overwhelming. But I do think that opens an opportunity, like they talked about before the Witch Queen came out, to shift these towards the Xur loot pool or towards selling them somewhere else. Like, we're approaching a point where, yes, you're going to have to keep selling weapons at the gunsmith, but I wouldn't be shocked to see, like, multiple vendors have different weapons up for sale each week. Like, giving Hawthorne even a suite of weapons and armor, I don't think is completely out of the question now. Or just let me outright buy some of these older ones, on a random roll from Saint. Let me spend 50,000 Glimmer for a roll of Summoner in the future if I want to, for example, or for like a Messenger next season. Like, I don't know. Let us do that. If it's no longer going to be a reward that you can actually earn, still have it in the game somehow. Like, we know Nightfall weapons are going to be kind of handled that way with Xur. Let's just do it. Let's just do it for all the endgame weapons that are being taken out. I don't know. Trace Rifles and Machine Guns are both getting buffed. This is to just future anti-champion mods. No comment on that. There's a lot in here about exotic weapons. Very, very, very specific ones, such as monitoring, Devil's Ruin, and Fighting Lion for having unique ammo economies, the Eyes of Tomorrow buffs, etc. You guys can go through and read all this. I don't think there's a whole lot in there we need to get to. Kind of read the two sections that I felt were like most prevalent and that I've had a lot of discussions with friends about. And then the last kind of not even major thing that we have here. Previously on the Schwab, we spoke about some quality of life changes for weapon crafting. We've already increased the element caps from 250 to 1,000 and the neutral element cap from 8,500 to 10,000. And in season 17, we are still planning to remove ruinous, adroit, mutable, drowned, and energetic elements so that only neutral element will remain. That's the one that looks like the little Dorito when you get it. One other feedback item we see cropping up a lot is the desire to masterwork your crafted weapons, if only to get those shiny gold borders that let you know a weapon is special. Starting in 17, you will have the ability to achieve the masterwork look for crafted weapons. To get your gold border on legendary crafted weapons, you will need to have an enhanced intrinsic perk and 2 enhanced trait perks. Crafted exotics will require a catalyst to be inserted. Great. It was just a quality of life thing. When I see that gold border, I know that is something I've invested my time in. That is my go-to weapon. And I won't constantly want, you got the little box there, but it's just for ease of access, especially, if you're just flying through that vault trying to grab something. Or you've crafted multiples of a weapon because you're trying out new perk combinations. Boom, there you go. That, the gold border one, that is your go-to. Earlier in the week, we put the choice of what map to feature for trials in your hands. Altar of Flame wins with 44% of the vote. Vostok got 30%, 36%, and Fragment got 20%. So starting when you are listening to this, Altar of Flame on Mercury is up for Trials of Osiris, which means I will be skipping it because that is just a god-awful map. Yeah, that's it. That's the end of the Schwab. There's really nothing else to talk about with the Schwab this week, unfortunately. Kind of afraid for what the next 2 weeks bring then. I'm assuming they're leaving subclass 3.0 until Dylan gets back in town. Cosmo did write this one. Dylan usually handles like the massive meaty ones, and he did write that giant one before going on vacation. I think this is the last week of his vacation. But regardless, it kind of feels like that's being held. I really can't believe they've waited this long to tell us, first off, what element it even is, but to talk about some of the abilities. And that kind of makes me believe that it's coming in hot. No pun intended on solar changes, obviously, but I feel like that is just, oh man, it may or may not be ready for prime time all the way. But with that being said, Corey had to step away. We're going to shift into talking about a little bit of Guardian games. I was really hoping, God, where is it? Okay. The Bungie web pages are just so messed up right now. I had to go into the Season of the Risen page to pull up Guardian games. I want to just say, I think Guardian games overall is better than it has been in the past. This is definitely the best iteration of it. That being said, it's probably still it and Solstice are in a real breakneck race for which one's the worst. I don't particularly like Solstice. Solstice was cool when we went to the AZ for the first time. We've been there 3 years in a row, and I guarantee you this is going to be a fourth year. It is time to retire some of these special zones. I get that you built it. You don't want to let it go. We were able to let go of the Haunted Forest last year, and it went pretty great for all of us, I think. It is 100% time to say goodbye to the EAZ. And I kind of feel Guardian games, let's talk about the positives first. I think that strike scoring is awesome. Strike scoring should be here. I like earning those medals. It feels like I'm doing something, I guess. I don't know. Like, you can tie fun things to that. I love the buffs that are part of this. To where, like, if you get, like, the gold buff, and then you get ability kills, you will get increased weapon damage, and it stacks up to 5 times. But vice versa, if you get the weapon damage, you're getting ×5. You'll eventually get ×5 on your abilities. And that is just wild. That is the wackiest thing I've ever seen with how fast some of these enemies die. It definitely made the Nightfall more bearable. The Nightfall this week is Lightblade. The other thing that I really like about this place, I think the playlists are needlessly confusing because there's going to be a third one that's introduced over the weekend. That's when I said we're going to have an addendum next week. The competitive strikes thing comes in, and I guess that's where you're competing for an individual score in Nightfalls, and I just don't know if I have the energy to deal with it. But they also say on there that in terms of rewards, exotic armor, common, Nightfall weapons, common, and enhancement prisms are uncommon. I like it. I've felt for a very long time that when you are doing something at top light level, this is a 1550 Nightfall if you choose the match made one, that you should be practically guaranteed the weapon. I think that's absolutely absurd if you're not. I like that. I think that this proves that matchmaking can be put in just about anything in Destiny. I am definitely still iffy when it comes to raids and God, what do you call it? Raids and Grandmasters are where I still kind of go, I don't know, because you'd be shocked at the amount of people who are going into these playlists not running champion mods. That's just insanely frustrating to be going in there knowing you're the only one running both champion mods. I hate that. Like, if you're with a group of friends and you plan it out, that's one thing. Going in with randos, you can't really do that. You cannot expect somebody else to carry you through a hard activity like that. But that does prove the thesis, I think, because Lightblade is one of the harder Nightfall strikes in the game. I would put it like it's a top 5 easily. It may be the worst on like Master or Grandmaster, frankly. It's like what's its competition? Like Glassway, Corrupted, um Exodus Down, like maybe, or Exodus Blue, whatever it's called, like that stupid one from year 1. Like maybe those are like the worst on Grandmaster. I don't know, but this is definitely one of like the 3 or 4 worst to do. The higher up in level that you get, it is very difficult to stay alive in that arena. It's the exact inverse of the Darkblade strike, of course, which was also a gigantic pain. I like that. I like that they fixed it very quickly on the back end, but the title, which is the Void SMG, was not dropping for anything. I probably turned in 30, 35 medals before I started thinking, something's probably wrong with this. Now I'm drowning in them. I'm just hoping that I get the right drop that I want. So again, I can lock it. I can lock it, masterwork it, delete everything else. And that combo I'm looking for is 1 for all, stats for all, and ricochet rounds. I apparently people don't like the SMG. I kind of dig it. It's not funnel web, but the intrinsic perk on it from Guardian Games is pretty good. I like it. You can switch between that or the Hake perk. So I do like this gun a pretty fair amount. I don't know if it unseats funnel web if I want to use an SMG, or especially submission, the primary SMG from Vow of the Disciple. But it is a fairly fun gun, I would say. I enjoy it. I like the look of it, especially when you slap a shader on it. Now let's talk the annoying. I want to talk the annoying before we talk about the bad. The annoying, I would say, is really in the form of the contender cards. I thought the contender cards and the laurels were a good system. I like that you can go play any activity you want and earn laurels as long as you're wearing class items. Class items, by the way, actually look really good this year, I think. You have to go play the game and then you can get it, and it is just absolutely infuriating. First off, you can only hold 1 contender card at a time, which I get it. They don't want people to be able to just farm medals. So like I get being able to only buy 1 for an activity at once, but I'm running to the tower more than ever before right now, getting these stupid cards. I finish a strike and I finished mine. I got to pull myself out and go get one. Like I have been to the tower probably like 24 times in the last 2 days trying to get contender cards to go earn my gold medal, be done, and then go back. And then you have to keep an eye on your medal counter too. And it just spirals, right? It is what it is. It's to encourage you not to sit there and hold on to them. And of course, as you turn them in, you get loot galore. I've gotten a lot of upgrade modules myself. So I still like that aspect of it. I love how the tower looks. In terms of the bad, I just find myself not caring. Like, they haven't given me a reason to care about this yet. I think the lore continues to be fascinating in game, but I'm not completely and totally sold on why this needs to be an activity. To me, this feels like something that would be fine to bring around whenever you have the Olympics. So like originally in 2020 when this was supposed to happen for the first time, the Olympics were going to happen that summer. I think Guardian Games would have been fine to have done over the Olympics. And this year totally makes sense. We just had the Winter Olympics. I don't know that we need to have this every single year. I would kind of like to see Guardian Games take a year off, take a breather, sit down and evaluate what actually worked. And I personally feel that the event will be retired because it really looks like the Warlocks are just going to like be pre-programmed to run away with this thing. If the Warlocks win, I would say that's it. They're going to retire the event. Would not be shocked to see the Revelry come back next year. I know there's already been people saying, Sparrow Racing League. I just don't think they want to invest that much time into making courses for Sparrow Racing League when it's going to be for like a 2-week event. You know, if so, get ready because you're going to play the same courses every time Sparrow Racing League comes up for like 4 years to justify the involvement. This is another instance where I really wish that we could just earn the armor in game. I don't understand why. I understand why they want you to buy everything and why the coolest stuff is locked behind, but I don't know. I feel like you could handle this differently. Like at some point, even if it's just giving away the old stuff, like next year I would like to see the first year of Guardian Games gear just given away in game. Like you can earn it from turning in medals. I don't know. Like you complete a couple of triumphs and you're guaranteed that. If you already had it, then like congratulations, here's like 1500 bright dust or something. I don't know. I wouldn't say like give out the bright dust like total for the set, but like give out some bright dust or something. Give out, maybe a golf ball, some enhancement prisms. I don't know. Like there's plenty of other rewards you could do if you already have the armor. I don't see a huge problem with that, but it probably will need to be addressed sooner rather than later. Um, the other thing I would add in that just I think really frustrates me about this event is it's needlessly convoluted. Like I said, there's like 3 different strike playlists. They really are putting a lot of emphasis on strikes, but then like, oh, but then there's this daily challenge and like draw dates between strikes, gambit, and crucible, and like, God, just why? Why is this a thing? I do like they introduced higher tier contender cards though for Legend Lost Sectors, Trials, Raids, high level Nightfalls, things like that. Those guarantee you a platinum medal, and platinum of course gives you the best rewards. So it's basically like you're getting a loot box every time you turn something in. I have yet to get anything like actually good out of these. I think I got a shader I didn't have, which was kind of cool. It just randomly dropped a shader for me. And as you complete triumphs, there is a ship you can earn. There's a shader you can earn. There's some emblems you can get. There's a lot of things here, and I don't know that I care. I would have loved to have seen the heir apparent ornament that's in the shop. I would have loved to have seen that as a reward in Guardian Games. I would like a Guardian Games skin for my legendary weapons that makes them look like the title. I think that would be really cool. I just don't know how you go about revamping this event. You've done it 3 different times now. I do think this is the best it's been, but I mean it's still arguably the worst event. And I say arguably because I know there are a few people who are actually really enjoying this. Our friend A1 Johnny, for example, he was tweeting out earlier today that he's really enjoying this. He kind of like ducked for cover, but and I don't disagree. I do like it to a degree. I think the glows that you can get on your shoulders are cool. Like the torch lighting is a really cool effect. I think. Because then you get special glows on your shoulders. Like one is from doing Guardian Games, medals, and then the other is going to be for doing your Nightfall scoring. I think that's really cool. Then you can get those, and they change color depending on what level you got to. Like the emblem will slightly change, also. Like it'll become more full. Um, I like all that. I think that things like that are fun. They're like fun little bragging rights. That's meant to be like, oh wow, like this guy is like really good at it. Instead it's like, oh wow, that guy has friends. Um, I don't know where you go with this event anymore. I don't know where you go with Guardian Games. I don't know if you continue doing Guardian Games, if you step away, if you like they did with Crimson Days, they put it into the vault and said, we're gonna fix it and bring it back down the line. We're going on year 3 of no Crimson Days, so I'm not gonna hold my breath on that. The Revelry had one. They tried it once, and then after that, it was Guardian Games time. I don't know. I don't know what you do. I think it's a good idea in theory, but the execution and how it actually plays out is not. If I had to rank the types of seasonal events, I would probably go, and judging by their current incarnations, I would probably go Festival of the Lost, The Dawning, and then, God, like this and Solstice are in a race to the bottom. As much as I like Solstice and I like the idea of the Solstice, I am not a fan at all of like any of what they've done with it lately. The fact that it took us 3 years to be able to see where the chests were permanently is a little absurd. Didn't enjoy that. And I find myself thinking the same thing here. Like, this is it's a needlessly convoluted system for something that's not like ultimately that rewarding. I'm not saying you have to tie an exotic to every single seasonal event because I think that would get really tedious really fast. Also, we would never hear the end of FOMO. But I do want to say that I think that Bungie's strategy of putting these events towards the end of what a season should be is really smart. Like that's just how things happen. The lineup, like this was last year and this year was the last 3 weeks of that of Chosen and now Risen respectively. The solstice will be towards the end of this year as well. It'll be towards the end of July 2022. That probably means season 3 ends around the end of Festival of the Lost. Like maybe Festival of the Lost takes place like 2-3 weeks before the end. And then, I mean, Dawning's just going to screw everything up. But you could end on Crimson Days. Like, and these types of events are designed to keep us occupied when so many of us have stepped away. It's like, oh, well, the metrics are going to go back up because you are suckers for some loot. I'm a sucker for some of those emblems. I did buy the WWE Championship belt emote, which I'm really, really digging. I like that a lot. I'm waiting to get the one where the player who initiates the 3-player emote jumps into the arms of the other two, and there's like all these, there's like moats all around and stuff, and they're holding him. I think that's a lot of fun. There's one where, you know, he does that, and then they set him on the ground because the Guardian is asleep. I just think there's a lot that you can do. But again, it goes back to my whole philosophy I've been stating about all these events. Let us earn stuff in game. If we didn't pay for it the first 2 years, let us earn it. What harm is there in letting us having a chance at getting it through opening packages or chests or whatever during this event? Collecting our rewards. Like what is the harm in giving away like some shaders, some ships, like ships and sparrows? Like nobody's buying them. Like weapon ornaments are about the only thing I guess I could defend leaving in the store. But even those, like if you're gonna offer past ones up, sell them for Bright Dust. You know, leave them in the store if people want to buy them, but let us do it with Bright Dust. I see no reason why you can't do a lot of these things. Let me earn some of those wacky go shells. Like, if I have to see the mini sparrow in the Solstice shop again, I may actually scream. I think there's just things are going to have to change at some point regarding these events because it has become a gigantic joke. Yeah, to a very large degree, it's become a pretty big joke, I would say. Beyond that, I mean, like, I really just don't have a whole lot of thoughts on Guardian games. Like, it's Guardian games. You know it. You probably hate it. I was gonna say you know you love it, but you probably don't love it. And then, yeah, Corey had to step away. I want to get his take on Guardian games, but we can probably get that next week. If he's not back soon, we can probably get that next week and dive in once he's had some time to check out the event. Because I do genuinely think, and this is what elevates it into a tie with Solstice right now, is Solstice's event has been so cumbersome, but it at least felt like you were doing things that were worth it because it was usually tied to moments of triumph. I think not being tied to moments of triumph anymore has absolutely tanked that event. Because that was really the reason why most of us were playing it, I think. That's usually during my summer gaming break. I've really stepped outside of Destiny a lot the last couple of weeks. You know, wrapping up some indies that I wanted to. Trek to Yomi came out today. I've been playing a lot of that this evening. And I look forward to getting to do things like that still, but that's one of the challenges I think in covering an online game. So you constantly are sitting there looking at these events that people may only play like 2-3 times in the weeks that they're up. But those of us who like this is our main social game, like, oh my God, I have to think about this for 3 weeks about how much I absolutely fucking hate seeing everything Guardian games related, which is not where I'm at, but it's the point that I'm going to get to. Like, it's going to hit during Solstice real bad this year. I don't know what you do. I think you have to hire somebody who specifically builds a team that this is all they do is they are constantly revamping the special little seasonal things. Like Guardian Games has been here for 3 years. Retire it. Put it in the vault. You can always bring it back down the road
or
let it rest for a year or two. Well, and that's the discussion we were just having. Like, and I don't even know how you change it. Like strike scoring and the glows and the big torches you can light. Those are all steps in the right direction. I love all of that.
Yeah,
I love all that. I like the idea that there's an exclusive SMG to this. Big fan. I think I would kind of like it if it had dropped with the other elements too, because of the perk. Like it's a unique perk to the gun, and my biggest pet peeve is that it's not craftable. I can't craft this thing, and that really bothers me. Like, I think you had an opportunity there to let this gun kind of showcase what crafting can do. Like, you have the Hake perk, and you have the Guardian Games perk on there that you can choose. But what if you could choose your element on this particular gun? Like,
Right.
this was the thing that you chose to show off subclass 3.0 with, essentially. I think it's going to be a really good compliment to Void builds. Like I said, I was running it a lot in Crucible Strikes and Gambit this week. I've been running it a lot. I am enjoying it. I like a good SMG. And it's, like I said, it's no submission, but it's still really good compared to the fucking guns that we get. Well, what was it? Horror Story and Braytech Werewolf? Like, this is lights out better than those ever were.
Right.
But with that considered, like, I think it's not unreasonable now to expect that every time that we have an event like this, you're going to get a special gun. We got a special sword last year during, they've done 3 weapons during the Dawning. They've done 3 or 4 during Halloween. But I want to, like, just how Halloween shook it up last year, I want to see these shaken up. I want this and Solstice. I mean, I expect Solstice to be different this year. I know it won't be, but I'm expecting it. And yeah, that's good. I'm going to knock it if it's not. This will be the 4th or 5th year we've had the EAZ. It's time to move on. Like, seasonal events need to grow with the rest of the game. But I'm willing to wait until you get PvP fixed first.
Yeah.
I think that, I've said it before, Gambit's a lost cause as far as I'm concerned, but I think you have to, if you're going to push a 3-week seasonal event every single season that is on top of the regular narrative and on top of the regular things going on, then you have to support it as such. It can't just be something that's bonus and like, oh, we're going to reuse as many assets as possible. No, like, please put some time and some thought and some care into it. And I feel like they tried to do that this year. They gave us a feature we've all been asking for, which is strike scoring, better chances at loot. The fact that Hothead is a common drop if you go to the Nightfall Strike is awesome. It's proven that we can do 15-50 matchmaking. It is proven that things like Master Wellspring should 100% have an LFG option right there from the screen, from the launch screen. You should be able to launch into that and get a fire team. There's no excuse for that. And, Nerd and Colonel were discussing this with me earlier this week when I said that my biggest hang up on doing 6-person match-made raids or, doing Grandmasters match-made all comes down to champions. Champions will always be the problem. And that's a whole nother episode entirely waiting to happen. As much as John and I have complained about it on this show, you and I have had our gripes as well, Corey. I think that's a discussion to be saved for when the EAZ inevitably comes back, and I just need to distract myself from the awfulness. Like, Solstice used to be my favorite thing from all the way back in Destiny 1. Solstice of Heroes, Moments of Triumph was always my favorite time. Now they're just tedious. Yeah. I don't even think I barely touched Solstice last year. I don't know that I play, aside from buying the armor, I don't know how much Guardian games I actually played last year.
Yeah.
Like, at least the strike scoring is keeping me invested, but having to run back to the tower every single strike is just, it's defeating the purpose of being able to buy stuff from the app.
Right.
So, at least let me stock up on them for a few different activities so I can go do those and then come back and get them. I don't know. There's so many things I could gripe about, but I don't. It's not that I don't want to. It's just, it's all things that we've said before. And I can at least recognize when you attempt to change something. So Bungie, you tried. I feel like I should make you a cake that says you tried, like the Kirby meme that we've all had, or like the Bart Simpson meme. Like, we've all seen the cake that says, well, you tried. And that's how I feel right now. Like, okay, fine. I felt that way about Crimson Days. I felt that way about the Revelry. I feel about this and Solstice. Like, Solstice, when they first introduced the AZ, it was so cool. But like everything else Bungie does at these events, they just want to reuse the assets. And I don't blame you. Like, the whole thing is, yes, we can let them earn a few things, but we really want them to buy more things in the shop. That's what we just voted for Gundam armor. Like, you better believe, even if Festival of the Lost is the exact same shit as last year, I'm playing it because I'm going to go buy that werewolf, or not werewolf, I'm going to go buy Gundam armor for all 3 classes.
Right.
Like, I'm fine with things like that. I'm okay with it. I like the armor here. I just really wish we could earn the old stuff. If it was a thing that was in the shop 2 years prior for a special event like Solstice or Guardian Games or Crimson Days or whatever, let me earn it during when that event is up for its next iteration. Let me earn it in game.
Right. Yeah.
So
No,
that's one of the only things I think Crimson Days ever did right was there were several rewards you could just earn from Shaxx.
Mm-hmm.
More of that, please.
Yeah.
Take a page out of 343's book. How they've been doing the event passes for Halo Infinite. You have your season pass, and then you have the free passes on top of that for their 2-week events.
I thought you were saying 6-month seasons.
Oh god, dude! If we had 6-month seasons in Destiny, I'd quit. No, like with the event passes though, like yeah, not everything hits, but you know you're able to unlock stuff. Like that's cool. We tie stuff to triumphs. I don't know. Let me turn in my bronze medals or something for an old ghost or something. I don't know. I'd go grind out that shit just to get it because I'm a completionist.
Yeah. Speaking of that, I wish like each vendor would have just like a pass. You know, like a. I mean, I know they kind of already do, I guess, with the reputation thing, and you reset it. But I mean, like, I don't know. Like, I would be more likely to go play trials if there was like you can get Shaxx's armor.
So I'm glad that we don't have that in a way because like Saint 14's helmet is obviously and like Cade's cloak are two like special circumstances because those characters like Saint was never in the game. He was a legend in D1, and then Cade's cloak was after Cade was already dead.
Yeah.
I think like leaving goofy things like I'm gonna dress up like Crow or like Saladin, like leaving that to the Halloween masks, I think is honestly a little bit better. That's like one of the truly unique things that Halloween seems to get over everything else is it can just be like really stupid and goofy. What was it? Ghost Tales, Ghost Stories. This last time, like that was great.
Yeah,
I loved that. That was fantastic. But I don't need Glint's Ghost Tales. Excuse me, Glint was the one doing it. Nolan North took the whole year off.
Yeah.
I think finding like a little quirky thing that works. Like I would love for Fynch to get in on it this year.
Yeah, I bet he does.
He's got to, and like our ghost is just like, oh my god, this is terrible. Like there's so many opportunities there. Like they finally, I think, have carved their niche out. The Christmas event has always been baking cookies. I know people are like, oh my god, I'm so tired of baking cookies. I don't care. Let me go bake a whole bunch of cookies and get a whole bunch of bright dust out of it. Like I'm here for it. Make the elements way easier to earn though.
I mean, we know you're such a bright dust whore, though, Josh.
I am Corey. I will not be above 100,000 when the next season launches, and I'm upset. I bought the WWE Championship belt emote with Bright Dust this week.
That sounds like something you would buy. That sounds like something you would waste Bright Dust on. All these cool things. You're like, nope, gonna wait. WWE belt comes in. Josh's like, I'm all in.
Dude, I swear to God, I'm gonna buy like half the emotes in the shop this week. But I digress. I think that they made some strides here. You can earn a ship. There's a shader you can earn. There's some emblems. There was an attempt. An attempt was made. I don't know if it was particularly a good one, but a couple of years ago, they did this during the Dawning when it was like community rank ups, and every time the community ranked up, everybody got special stuff from Space Grandma. And a lot of it was stuff that had been in the shop before. It was a whole bunch of like, it was older emotes from like the first Dawning that we had in D2, like and like the Forsaken Dawning. Like we got this stuff, I think, during Beyond Light, first year of Beyond Light, like right as it was launching, is when we got a whole bunch of packages like that because Avalanche came back with new roles. That's when Cold Front came out. And so you were getting rolls of that, but you were getting shaders that you were missing. You were getting old emotes, you were getting old sparrows, old ships, like, and a lot of it was generic stuff, but it was all stuff that you used to be in Eververse, and it wasn't anymore. Everyone was just getting it given to them. I see nothing wrong with, okay, it's been 2 full years. Like, you used to be able to earn the Dawning armor in game. You can't anymore. There are like 6 sets of Dawning armor. You need to put them in the game. You need to let us earn them. Like, let me pick up a week-long challenge from, Grandma, and okay, it's you've got 3 weeks to do. You got to play all 3 weeks. The first week you get arms and legs. The second week you get class item and arms or something. Second week you get legs or arms and chest, and then the last week you get the helmet and like a transmat effect. I don't know. there is stuff you can do here. Like, I will spend, what do you want? Like 100,000 glimmer? You want 100 legendary shards? Like, I'll come buy one of those cards from you. Just, let me do that. Let me earn this stuff in game that was in the shop. Because I'm sorry, when something's been in the shop for that long, like, if you wanted it and you're a hardcore player, you would have bought it by now.
Mm-hmm.
The only set I will go back and buy from any of these events that I missed out on, because I almost habitually never buy the special sets. I don't buy the glows during the summer. I did not buy the Festival of the Lost stuff up until... I mean, I guess I did the last 2 years. I bought the werewolf set and then the dino set. I like the kind of goofier ones, but that's my Halloween attire. I don't wear it year-round. I don't have anything from the Revelry, obviously. And Guardian games, I mean, I got last year's purely for the holographic cloak.
Right.
Like, this year's set, I'm looking at them right now. Like, I think they're good sets for the other classes. Hunters, like, man, I've got about 15 sets of armor that I like better than that. I think it's really sleek, and it's just like last year's. It reminds me very much of Sparrow Racing League. But it just, like, reinforces my belief that that's never coming back.
Man, I wish it would, man. Like, talk about switching something up, right? Like,
well, and that's what I was kind of saying earlier. I think that it's just so tricky to bring back. You have to invest so many resources into making those racing maps only for it to be used for 3 weeks and then not be used again. Because if I get it, I don't want it coming back like every season or even like twice in a year. No, like that would have to replace the spring event, which, sure, if you want to bring that in, like have that in Guardian games straight off or tie it into Guardian games. I don't know. Like, there's a lot of stuff you could do there.
I mean, you could probably tie it into Guardian games and make it like an event that coincides.
Instead of Strikes next year, it was Sparrow Racing League. I'd be okay with that. Like, it was that, and like if it was that, and I don't know, that and like Mayhem were like your things. I think that would be really cool. Like that Mayhem, Team Scorched, and Momentum Control. Like, make those your 3 Crucible modes. You do this and put an emphasis on the seasonal event. Like, say, hey, for the last 3 weeks of the season, we're doing double and triple drops on everything. Guaranteed red border every time you go run the seasonal event.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that would go such a long way towards getting people back in at the end of these seasons, because you when you do these events, I get that you're lining them up with stuff, and it's meant to draw us back in if we wandered away. But man, I'm usually so tired of Destiny by that point. I'm just, it's a struggle. Like, the 6-month season was a real struggle for me. Like, I kind of tapered off after about week 6 or 7, and then I wandered back the week before Guardian games. And I'll probably wander away for the last week or 2 also, because okay, cool. I've unlocked almost all my cosmetics. I don't really care about finishing in the top 10% in the world to get an emblem. I've almost got the title role that I want. I've got the 2 perks. I'm just waiting on Ricochet round, so... Like, let me craft these older weapons, though. Like, let me unlock blueprints for these guns. There's no reason why Title, Braytic Werewolf, Horror Story, Avalanche, whatever the sword was we got at Christmas, etc., should not be craftable.
Yeah.
Let me craft Shax's Valentine's Day bow. Let me craft these things. Like, these are cool. Like, let me craft these the way that I want them, and they can keep living on. I don't know. I'm talking myself in circles now. I think that's just kind of like my honest assessment of Guardian games. They made some great strides this year, but it still has a ways to go before it can be up there with, before it can even match cookie baking, let alone what they did with Festival last year.
What about spring cookie baking?
Corey, I swear to God. We call that bagel season.
What if you're baking bread and bagels instead of cookies?
Oh my dude, what if you literally had to get bread?
Mm-hmm.
No, we're not doing this. They're gonna like tie it into like tax day or something. Don't give them any ideas, Corey.
It's fine.
No, it's not. It's very not okay. But I digress. We're gonna move on. We have one more like mini topic to squeeze in here really fast before we get to I wouldn't say a beefy lore corner, but a pretty good one. And then we have several listener questions to get to tonight.
We do.
Now that Corey's back, I don't have to vamp anymore.
Yeah, sorry guys. So yeah, sorry. My My
No,
kids
it's
are
okay.
awake.
I'm teasing you. It's okay.
No, I know it kind of ruins the flow. So I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
The
Sorry.
the one that I wanted to get to is we now know that, and this came out literally like an hour or two before we started recording. I want to make sure that I pull this up accurately. Um, I saw it. It was retweeted by Jason Schreier, but I want to give the source the correct credit here. I can't read the full article because I have to pay for it, and I'm absolutely not paying for a subscription to read this article.
Oh,
If
why
it was
not?
like on Bloomberg, I would do it, but it's not on Bloomberg. It's Josh Sisko over at theinformation.com. He's a regulatory and policy reporter. So he reports on the FTC a lot. It came out literally right before we went on air and says the FTC is diving deeper into the video game industry, opening a probe of Sony's $3.6 billion deal for Bungie, the studio behind Destiny. It follows the current in-depth investigation of Microsoft's $69 billion deal for Activision Blizzard. The long and the short of it, that a lot of people that, we know and read in the industry giving their honest assessments is ranges from they're baffled to, well, yeah, that makes sense. As Schreier says here, and I think this kind of encapsulates it all. During a wave of video game industry consolidation, the FTC is scrutinizing antitrust more than it has in years. Get the popcorn ready. I want to be super clear. I don't think that this means that Bungie's deal is getting rejected. If anything, I think it means that the Microsoft Activision deal, like, may not be 100% like a lot of us thought. That may not be a slam dunk. Like this, combined with Bloomberg's reporting last week, which I know made a lot of people really upset. Just
Are you talking about the state of New York suing?
No. This is even different from that. This came out last Thursday, I want to say. Last Thursday, maybe the week before. People were very upset that Schreier and another reporter over at Bloomberg they wrote an article basically saying that because where the share price is for Activision, Microsoft is paying like 25% more on the dollar than what the stock is currently worth. And that there were some investors that were basically like, all right, we're ready to cash out, this and that. And then that was followed up by Warren Buffett investing like $8 billion into Activision stock, because when it sells, he's gonna make billions. I don't like, and I don't even know if that deal falls apart. If anything, I think that this is meant to almost be a scare tactic in a way, like, hey, don't do this too much or we're really going to look into you. Because I don't think that Microsoft is lobbying the FTC on behalf of the Xbox division. Like, this is not, and I've seen some go like, well, nothing happened when Disney acquired Fox, which was massive. And that's probably still the most consequential acquisition we've ever seen in home media. But you also had people on both sides of that, from Disney and from Fox, saying no, like, hey, we need to get this through, like, getting their lobbyists up there and things like that, lobbying the Congress and the FTC. Like, the EU scrutinized the Bethesda deal way more than the US. Basically just looked at it, signed a piece of paper and said, lol, video games. They're not doing that anymore because they're realizing, oh my god, these companies are worth billions.
Right.
Like, things like Ninja Theory and Double Fine and like Jade Raymond Studio, Haven, like, those aren't being scrutinized because those are for like a couple $100 million, maybe at most, at absolute most. But
or like Embracer buying half of Square
oh my
Enix.
god, that's fucking wild. Don't even get me started on that one.
I know
deal,
we're not really talking
deal
about
of the
that.
century. Deal of the century.
Dude, Tomb Raider alone was probably worth that.
They stole, but man, I read some numbers the other day, and I'm not as shocked as I was now, because apparently Avengers and Guardians together lost them like $250 million.
Yeah, I saw that.
Plus the licensing rights, and they were just like, yeah, no, we're done. So Square basically was like, we have a chance to get out and break even. We're gonna do it.
Yeah.
Man, again, whole nother topic in and of itself. I just
Yeah.
think that this is curious. We're only bringing this up because it's Bungie. As with any acquisition that gets announced before it's finalized, there is always a chance that it does not go through. I don't think that's the case here. I think it's just them saying, "Whoa, you're not throwing around like $200-300 million anymore. You're throwing around billions."
Mm-hmm.
And especially so Microsoft with the acquisition of Activision Blizzard will go to being the third most powerful gaming conglomerate, and I believe that is behind Tencent and Sony. They would equal Nintendo's market share at that point of like roughly 15 billion in revenue a year. And Sony and Tencent are still higher than that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's more of, okay, we don't want these companies getting too much power, and again, like if either of these deals were to fall through, it would 100% be the Activision Blizzard deal. I feel because that, like, I've argued this myself on shows that I think that is too much.
Right.
I think that was definitely a step too much, and that's definitely was not me crusading the week before the Bungie purchase, saying Microsoft should have bought Bungie instead.
Right.
Bungie and WB Games would have been a better investment, but I digress.
I mean, they could have spent a third of that money and gotten Square's Western arm, WB Games, and
Bungie.
It's
just it's wild. It's it's ludicrous. We are just sitting here watching them throw around billions of dollars like it's monopoly money.
Mm-hmm.
But you're going to hear the words monopolization and antitrust a lot more in the coming years because of deals like this, and we will have to discuss those words on this show since we talk about Bungie every single week.
Mm-hmm.
So like as updates come out about this, like maybe I'll see if I can find a cached version of this story and we can break it down a little bit more next week. I don't know how much more is in there that I haven't seen various other reporters tweet out, but there are a lot of people paying attention to this story right now in particular, not just because it's Bungie, but because I think we all knew the FTC was going to scrutinize a $69 billion deal, but I don't think any of us expected the Bungie one to get scrutinized at all. I certainly didn't.
Yeah.
And now it's like, because the bar is Bethesda didn't get it, and Bethesda was worth double that. Bethesda sold for double that. Didn't get, and that was a whole ass publisher.
I wonder if they're just doing this because they're going to start doing this now with every purchase. You know.
I would think that's part of it. The FTC has long been seen as a joke, and I think they're getting a little bit tired of being treated like that.
Mm-hmm.
These companies do not respect them, and I mean, on one hand, why would you? Mm-hmm. On the other hand, it's like, well, if you actually enforced your policies, we wouldn't be in this position. If you guys would have stepped up and said no to Disney buying Fox, we would not be in this position right now.
Mm-hmm.
It just, man. Anyways, that's where we are. Fun fact: Bungie sold for $400 million less than all of Lucasfilm did to Disney.
Mm-hmm.
George Lucas almost sold Lucasfilm for the price of Destiny. That's wild. Yeah. And we thought $4 billion was a lot at the time, and then we're like, oh no, they're making a new movie. They're going to make that back in like a year.
I mean, it was a big deal though at the time. That was a lot of money.
Marvel Comics sold to Disney for $700 million.
I know. Well, also Marvel was like gonna go away.
It was definitely gonna go away, but yeah, that's God. So many weird things have happened the last couple of years. But I digress. Billionaires, right? Am I right? Bob Iger's over here investing in Funko Pops now.
Yeah. Please, if somebody buys Funko, I'm quitting.
I hope it's not Microsoft.
It's gonna be a hot topic.
Oh God, GameStop tried to at one time, I think.
Well, yeah, but GameStop tries to buy everything.
It's true. Anyways, we're gonna jump in. We're gonna jump back to some Witch Queen lore. We're gonna go back to the Lucian Tales book. We started reading some from there. We never really picked back up with them. But now that I have the book completed, I feel better about reading these on Ishtar Collective without getting spoiled. I want to spend some time reading Fynch's lore this week, and then the next 2 weeks we'll do Guardian Games and some Imaru lore to kind of wrap up this season. We have two pieces. It's just Fynch 1, Fynch 2. Just gonna read both of them, and we'll discuss as needed. And these are all from his perspective, of course, like the entire Ghost Tales book or Lucian Tales book is from the perspective of Hive Ghosts. You gotta understand, none of us came in here thinking grand schemes. None of us. There was just this urge, So we followed it, only to step into a world remaking itself. The light just thrashing away at the darkness, pounding away, mountains sloshing into seas like sugar in the rain. A Hive Throne world remade on a whim. I'm not what you'd call a believer, not after the Red War, not after the Tangled Shore, not after a lifetime of never mattering just because I wasn't half of someone else's whole, but that made me whole again. And then I saw him, what was left of him, lying there. Just his corpse, dead maybe. Oh, 100 years? It's my night. I look and I know he's mine. Like hearing a song the first time and it's already stuck in your head. And in that moment, I think something good in me died. And 22 and Kamasi and Marseille, they're all raising their partners. Hive light bearers, every last one. You'd think it'd be impossible, but sure enough, all standing there. Elay, Quasit, Hatcher, everyone finding their purpose. There's Hive to the left of me, Hive to the right. I'm buried in them. And the whole time, every ghost I ever knew is shouting, telling me, this is the Traveler's plan. Who are you to question it? And I thought, maybe they're right. I mean, I could see the lights scouring a whole world right in front of me. Maybe this was some kind of turning point for the Hive. Knowing your creator chose you to remake an entire species, oh, you'd make some bad choices too. So I shared my light. Who wouldn't? A couple hundred of your closest friends bearing down on you and a Hive shredder waiting if you say no? I shared. I reached into him and touched something deep. And what he offered back, it wasn't light or dark. It was cold. It was wrong. And I knew it would fill up whatever empty cracks in me the light left behind. And I chose to make it a part of me, to be half of his whole. I chose to share my soul with a monster. And the thing is, you can't just be part monster. Then Fynch 2. Oh, no, no, no. Why, of all things, did you make me do this? The Hive certainly weren't perfect. Actually, let's not mince words. They were straight up evil. But you, I gave you a part of me. I let you make me worse just so I could make you better. You were supposed to understand you were the only one who ever could. Why wouldn't you? Yeah, so really, this is your fault, not mine. I know you don't want to be dead. I know that. You think I don't know that? I watched you shoot a guardian and her ghost dead. All because I could hear you in the back of my mind, needing me to bring you back. And I listened. I listened to the others, then to you, then to everyone except myself. I didn't expect miracles, but I expected something. Yes, you're dead now, and I can hear you, but I can't. Don't you get it? I just can't. I'm not going to be the trigger man anymore. I'm not going to sacrifice humanity on your personal altar. You're not worth it. You're not worthy. And you never were you? Why does Savathun have the light? I should have asked why a long time ago. None of us did at the time, but I should have. We both know this wasn't right. Look, I've got no faith left in the Traveler, but I know it wouldn't give me a monster and say, make him a god. No, we both know this wasn't right. Was it pity? Optimism? Maybe it's just the obvious. I mean, Hive don't accept gifts, they take. Maybe the Traveler was tricked. The end of some long con. The Traveler isn't just some dumb orb ripe for grifting. Gaul found that out the hard way. There's got to be more to it. I have to dig deeper. And if joining you damned me, well, hell sounds like a good place to start. I'll find out how she did it. And I don't care how much you try and change my mind. You're staying dead, you hear me? You made me a monster, remember? You don't get to cry about it when I act like one. So this is some of the darkest lore we've had in a while. Really getting inside the mind of Fynch, who you knew from the second you met him that we were eventually going to get something like this.
Yeah.
And I think I like this. I like these two lore pieces because they're so straightforward. You get the first from his perspective of raising his guardian. He's basically peer pressured. Finch knew from the beginning it was wrong, but a lifetime of being an outcast and you finally have purpose in front of you. I mean, I think a lot of us would make that choice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not so bold and arrogant to say that I wouldn't. And then, in Finch too, the whole perspective of, even though his guardian's dead, he's still hearing it in his head. Will he hear that forever? Like, I think that's a question we have to ask too. Like, is he going to hear that voice forever? Is he going to be able to silence that out eventually? Like, could somebody just incinerate the body? I don't know, like, is there like a cleansing technique for a ghost? I would really love to see Finch go on an arc where maybe he gets to be like, I know Eris lost her ghost, but maybe he gets to be Eris's ghost.
Mm-hmm.
Like, since she can use the darkness and everything, maybe Finch gets to be partnered up with her.
Maybe. Yeah.
I think there's a lot of possibilities here. Like, this is a character that they clearly intend on building on.
Yeah.
Like, we're not going to be done with Finch anytime soon. He is one of only 3 ghosts they've ever given a true 4 ghosts they've ever given a true personality to.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's a stark reminder, I think, that our ghost could have ended up this way eventually, had he not found us in old Russia.
Yeah.
You know, had Glint not found Crow in the Dreaming City.
Right.
You know, it's startling to think. You know, I'm also imagining, like, what if he just decides he's gonna bum it with Osiris? Like, well, you know, we're the outcasts, buddy. I'm going with you. You know, war's over. I'm leaving the system with you. I want to see the universe. There's a lot here, but I think the most important thing is that he actually feels regret for his actions, which is not something you hear from like any of the other Hive ghosts when you read their lores. They do not regret doing this. Finch regrets it before he even does it. He does it because he's being pressured into it, and he insinuates they were going to kill him if he didn't do it.
Right.
They were going to kill him like the Barons did Sundance. You know, like like Savathun and Xivu Arath did to Sagira. Like they were 100% going to do this again, and so he made the choice. And you know, you can't be just part monster. You either are or you aren't. So it's very frank to hear from a character that's so lighthearted when you encounter him in game. Like, in the game, he is very lighthearted the entire time. Like, he's cracking jokes. I did the light blade strike earlier, and he's cracking jokes the whole time.
Right. Yeah.
And you know, now you get this, and just, you know, a stark insight into what's going on there. So.
Yeah, I mean,
justice for Finch.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about that before too, right? Where, like, you know, he's just this deeper character than we see on screen, because I think we did a lore piece towards the beginning of the season about Finch, and it was like, man, he has a lot going on. He has a lot going on, and it's got to be hard too, because, like, obviously he's supposed to serve his guardian, right? Whether he thinks it's good or bad, and like we're just seeing these retaliations of these ghosts, right? And like, well, Finch, but I assume there's going to be others, right? And I wonder if the characters that don't have ghosts, like you said, like Eris or even Osiris, right? Like, could possibly get a Hive ghost, quote unquote, right? And so I don't know. I'm with you, because, you know, Osiris was studying the darkness too, right? So I don't know.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of possibilities here, but it's very clear to me that we are not in any way, shape, or form done with Finch.
Yeah,
Finch, you don't give a lore readout like this to somebody and have them factor so much into strikes and into the campaign without him being a major character going forward.
Yeah.
I'm actually a little surprised he didn't show up in the raid. So, but with that, we're going to segue out of Lore Corner. We're going to get to all of our questions, because we have a lot of questions tonight.
Yeah, we have 4, I think, right? That we got to get to.
We do have 4.
3 and Johnny's, right?
Yeah, John's isn't serious. But let's go to the first one. Of course, it's from Andre again this week. Thank you. Again, if you guys have a question and you want it read out, you can tweet at Tower Casuals on Twitter. You can hit Corey or I up on Twitter. You can email the show, or you can send us a message on Instagram, which
we get more of than you think.
Yeah. So Andre's question this week, out of Shax, Zavala, and Saladin, who would you want to die, and how, like, what kind of epic death would they end up having? So I'll go. I'll take this one first because I've thought about this long and hard.
I think you've been thinking about it for 2 seasons at this point.
I've been thinking about it for 2 seasons. It's Lord Saladin. I think with him being the head of the Cabal army now, it's coming.
Mm-hmm.
It's absolutely coming. It's right there for Crow to take up the mantle of the Iron Banner. So let me paint a picture here.
Paint it for me, Josh. Paint it for me. Get the colors out.
Battle. We're engaged in battle. The tower is on fire. It's burning. It's falling. I am taking this out of the horde mode that we talked about last week. We are evacuating the citizens. And then all of a sudden, drop pods come in when we're cornered and we think that that's it. Our guardian shields have been broken. The cutscene is starting. And we're on the ground telling Ghost to hide. And all of a sudden, the drop pods land and out steps Valus Forge and the Brockuses. And they just start destroying everything. They just start ripping apart the Witnesses' troops. And then something happens. Keitel has seen us using stasis. She sees us using the darkness. And she senses that something isn't quite right. Because Savathun is back. And she basically tells Valus Forge to kill us. She orders him to destroy the young wolf. And in that moment, the Brockuses turn their guns. And instead of taking us down, he takes on all of the elite Cabal officers. He's going toe-to-toe with all of them. We're talking axes and hammers are flying. He's punching. He's holding a flaming hammer while he's using Fists of Havoc. He's whipping out the Captain America. You know, he's going full Avengers Endgame here. He's getting bloodied. The helmet's destroyed. Pieces of the armor are falling off. All while they're trying to get up. Crow is there to get us out of the tower. And then all of a sudden you hear one final drop pod. It's Keitel herself on one side. You hear another one. And it's Callus. Saladin caught in the middle, trying to fight both while they're in the middle of their grudge match. He dies, felling both of the Cabal warriors. An axe embedded in one, the other's face smashed in with his hammer, and then he collapses because he's neglected to realize that a Cabal sword has been driven directly through his chest. He has been speared, and he dies in the Guardian and Crow's arms before they have to leave the body there because the tower is crumbling. End scene.
Wow. That
will 100% not happen, by the way.
But it's cool.
If he were to have a death, it would be saving Crow and the Guardian.
Man, wow.
The only vow he would ever break, the only promise he would ever break would be the one to Keitel. That he will do whatever she tells him to do.
Uh-huh. Wow. That's intense.
It's intense.
That'd be a cool scene.
Like we said, I've had a lot of time to think about this.
You have. Clearly. I feel like you could have written that out. You should share that with Bungie, Josh. Just tweet it out at them.
You know what? I should. I'm gonna get Saladin's voice actor in on this. Be like, hey, buddy, I found out a way for you to get killed off. Let's talk about
it. For me, I think it's gonna be Zavala. Sadly.
Okay.
I think it's gonna be a similar situation, but in order to protect humanity, he's going to sacrifice himself, right?
Yeah.
And I think he's going to go... I think it's going to be very reminiscent of the Red War, where, you know, when they're in the original tower, right, and he pops that bubble, right, and he yells at everybody to get inside. I feel like he's going to pop a bubble or something, and it's going to be to protect everybody, but also to get everybody out. Similar to what you said with Saladin, right? Where he's going to kind of take on all these.
I feel like if we have a Titan die, that's how it's happening.
Yeah. So I think Zavala goes down fighting the Witnesses' army. I bet it's I wonder if it's going to be the veil that comes in
Yeah.
and tries to take over the tower, and Zavala fights them off. Maybe even a couple other tower people, right? Like Amanda Holiday could be in there with him, right? Like I feel like a couple other people are going down with Zavala. He's gonna have a team, and they're all going down, but they're going down to get us and Crow and maybe even Ikora, right?
Yeah.
I think he's gonna he's gonna sacrifice himself to get us all out.
I would not be
And
shocked if by the end of Lightfall we've seen both Ikora and Zavala die.
yeah, I'm a little
I,
bit more hesitant on Ikora, but now that Salad, because I thought it was going to be Saladin for a long time, I really did. But now that
I still think
they've
it's
kind of
Saladin.
see, I think now that he's like a major part of the story in a different way, but in like a cool way, I don't think they're going to waste that on killing him.
I don't think they will, at least not anytime soon. But I think to expect to get through the final shape with Zavala, Ikora, and Saladin all being alive is
Mhm.
wishful thinking.
No,
If any,
I think by the time the final shake comes around, they're all dead. I think
so
almost all the characters that we know.
I'm not entirely sold on Zavala. I do like your theory of Zavala dying. Like, if Zavala died for me, it would be very much him popping the bubble, and then like
Uh-huh.
as this like while the smoke is all around, and like the witnesses are, we think, oh, we got it, we did it. All of a
Mhm.
sudden, you just see lightning glowing, and you see a
Yeah.
thunder crash come
Mhm.
flying out of it. I
Yeah.
would love to see like the flashbacks in
Mhm.
Zavala's mind as he's flying up into the sky Superman style. Like
Mhm.
it goes into slow motion, and like you have like the Lord of the Rings music like
Yeah.
kicking in, the Eagles music like
Mhm.
as they're flying in with Gandalf. You have that music
Mhm.
playing, and he's just
Or
you're getting all the images like him leaving the distributary, him coming to Earth, building the tower, him and Cade and Ikora, hugging together after the Red War, him at Cade's funeral,
Mhm.
telling the Guardian, I trust you. Him ready to protect Crow. He was ready to throw away an entire alliance with his boo in order to save Crow.
I
And
think
you
yeah.
have to show all those scenes, I think.
Yeah, I wonder if it's like, okay, so I'm gonna start over here, Josh. Okay. Zaval's still dying. He's dead.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be him, Shax, and Saladin
Ooh.
fighting with the Cabal, fighting the Veil, right? And they're
Spicy.
winning.
Spicy.
They're winning, right? Okay, they're
Mhm.
taking them out using supers, shotgunning, hammering, axing, thunder crashing, and all of a sudden you just see the witness start walking. Nobody's trying to attack the witness, right? He's just walking, and like he does something like really crazy, and like him and Zavala have like this face off, right? Zavala's like trying to attack him. He can't hit him because the witness is some kind of magical being that is using some form of light or darkness that we've never seen before,
Right.
right? And like Zavala is like you said, they start showing flashbacks, and Zavala's like fighting the witness, and the witness is like neoing him, right? Like he's like blocking him, and like without any effort. And Zavala is like yelling at everybody to get out while he's holding the witness off. And finally, you just see the witness pull out some sort of weapon we've never seen before, like
Yeah.
a cool sword, like and just guts him, right, just right through the chest. And you just see like the light fade from Zavala. Maybe he crushes his ghost while he stabs him. Like he grabs Zavala's ghost and just crushes it in his hand, like we've been doing to the Hive Ghosts. Zavala goes down, protecting us. We all leave in the Helm Avengers helicarrier thing. The Cabal are in there. It's happening.
I would love that. Like if it mimicked the mass spoilers for Mass Effect 3. When you finally
Yes.
take down Kai Lang and
Uh huh.
Shepard just leans in and whispers, "That was for Thane, you son of a bitch."
Uh-huh.
I would love for Ghost to have that sass when we kill the witness. Be like,
Yeah.
that was for Zavala. But here, I just keep coming back to, you can't kill Lance Reddick. He plays the game.
I know.
We can't kill Lance. I maintain
Yeah.
he will be the space president of planet Earth at the end of the series. All his friends are dead. The remaining people have all left, but he's just like, I imagine him like, have you watched Arcane on Netflix?
I have not.
So there at the there's a warrior who finds two kids at the very beginning, and he stops fighting after that. He becomes their surrogate parent, and he in his bar you see his gauntlets just hanging up by the ceiling. I imagine Zavala like hanging his shoulder guards up and being like, when we come back to like visit him, he's just like chilling in like civilian clothes. Like he's sitting there in like a Bungie themed hoodie in his office, being like, oh, this is great. And he's just sipping a cocktail with a little umbrella in it. Maybe he's working out to Shax's workout tapes. Like, my man deserves he needs a 401k and a pension plan. That's all I'm going to say. But we have to move on. We have so many questions.
We do. But what if Zavala's office is like, he's the one that survives? What if he's the one that survives and you just go in his office and he has like Cade's cloak and Ikora's bond and the axe from Shaq or from Saladin.
I was gonna say, is Zavala's bath towel gonna be hanging up on the wall?
Yeah. Shax's horn, his other horn.
The missing horn.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Anyway, I hope we answered your question adequately there, Andre.
Yeah, I can't wait to see his response on Twitter tomorrow. Just
our next question comes. Oh god, dang it! My feed just completely rebooted on me. Oh god, where is it?
Oh my god! Do I need to pull them up?
No, I've got it. Oh god, everything's buzzing at once. This one, Joasis. In an alternate timeline, you have to main another class besides what you currently main. Which one do you choose? For the record, I am a Hunter main and Corey is a Titan main. I have a feeling we both have the same answer for this question, though.
What, Warlock? Or
Harry Potter! Opposite? Space Dumbledore!
Harry Potter!
Harry Potter and the audacity of these bitches! No, I would 100% be a Warlock. I just want to run around throwing Nova Bombs and Moira Beams everywhere.
Yeah.
That's all I care about doing. That's all I want to... I want to get the Stasis Super, but I really don't want to endure Beyond Light again in order to unlock it on my Warlock.
Yeah. It was funny because, like, right before Witch Queen came out, I made Mitch and my friend Jeff run through the Beyond Light campaign with me just so I wouldn't have to play it by myself and endure that.
Here's my biggest problem. Like, it's not even that. It's getting the stupid fragments.
Yeah.
Like, that's somehow even worse.
Yeah.
I hate it. I would absolutely play a Warlock, though. I would play a Warlock, but I would want my Hunter jump still.
Yeah.
I would want to jump around, like, in a Hunter triple jump with a dress.
I think that's the only reason, or like one of the main reasons why I don't play Warlock a lot now is that stupid jump. I hate the jump. I hate the floaty jump.
It's not great.
And they're slow. Like, they're really slow.
They are, in fact, slow. Yeah, I don't think there's really anything else to say. Like, I do occasionally play a Warlock in PvP. Mm-hmm. Fun fact, that's how I got my only 7th column was by playing a Warlock.
Oh, God.
I threw a Nova Bomb and wiped everybody and then turned around, like, as I was, like, freaking out, like, oh my god, I can't believe I took everybody out. Turned around, sniped a dude at the other end of the lane right as he spawned in.
Oh, wow.
So my only 7th column ever came from playing as a Warlock. I have not played as a Warlock in PvP since. That was just such a good day for me.
I'm hanging up my bond.
I'm done. It's like what the joke about the Nets playing game champs 2022. Right. That's how I feel right now. Like that's what I am. Like I came in off the bench. there's a podcast I love listening to that The Ringer does called The Rewatchables, and they have an award they give out, the Dion Waiters Heat Check Award, and it's who makes the best use of their limited time in a movie. And man, I would absolutely be that as a warlock in PvP. I'm getting the Heat Check Award.
That's fair.
Corey, what would your choice be? Would it be Hunter or Warlock?
Oh, it's a warlock.
Okay.
I've tried to play the hunter so many times, and I'm not skilled enough at the game to play the hunter. Like, I feel
You
like
know
it
what? At
requires
least you
a
can
different
admit it. It's
set-
okay.
I feel like it's a different set of skills, right? And I just don't have them, Josh. I just don't. Right? The golden gun requires quite the precision that I don't have. Like, I would have to play the bow. I would have to play that's the class I'd have to play, and I don't want to do that. Right?
It's a really fun class.
I don't doubt it, but like,
my smoke makes things go boom now. I like it. I get to fire multiple volleys. I'm living out all my Hawkeye fantasies. I have ice axes for when things go wrong. Mm-hmm. Ninja stars, Corey. The buffs that you get in the Guardian Games playlist, I ran through an entire strike earlier. All I did was throw ninja stars repeatedly because they were coming back so fast. Like, instantaneously, they were coming back. So it's like, fing, 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 fing. Like, I was doing Fallen Saber, and that's all I did was just, I meleeed everything to death. I pulled out a sidearm when I needed to get a couple really quick kills, and then I would bing, 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 bing. It's great. It's great. I had like 120 kills from just throwing stars. Fantastic.
Nice.
Our next question, our last question, comes to us from Jacob Brazil via Instagram. Hey guys, big fan of the podcast, and I listen through Spotify and want to ask a question. Did not have another way to reach you. Master Valve the Disciple has been a hot take with our adept weapons worth it. My question for you is, what if instead of weapons being the main loot, the armor is? Maybe make the armor artifice armor like in Grasp of Avarice. Corey, I'll let you go first on this one.
I mean, armor is always really interesting, right? Because like I remember in Destiny 1 when like the hard raids would come out, they would have like a slightly different set of armor, right? Like when King's Fall came out, it was the white version of the armor instead of the gray and red, right? Or was it the other way around? I can't remember. But my point is there's two different sets, and I think that would be really cool to get a special ornament or something from these things if you tried it on hard, just because like I feel like sometimes the adept weapons are worth getting and sometimes they aren't, right? Like the Time Worn stuff in Vault of Glass, from what I've heard, is not really worth chasing.
Yeah.
But then you have stuff like Trials, and the adept weapons are totally worth getting. So, I think you could save like the adept stuff for that kind of in-game content. And like, if you try like a PvE event or something on a harder difficulty, you get a cool ornament or a glow or something, right?
Yeah.
I think that's my opinion, because Destiny's all about looking cool while you're killing stuff, right? So
yeah, so I don't know that I necessarily want every piece of armor to, in like high-end content, to have the Grasp of Avarice stuff. That being said, if you're in master mode, there should be some kind of perk to the armor in general, just so you're not automatically sharding it. There is no worse feeling than going into a master raid or a master dungeon and getting nothing but armor. Like, I guess like Master Grasp of Avarice, it isn't that way because you get the artifice armor, but I also don't want that to be like the default perk for everything. Like, maybe have one dungeon and one raid with it at a time. I just think like you knocked it out of the park so well with that first perk, especially on the class items, man. I would like to see for the raid armor maybe you get a little bit of extra energy. Like, you can, when you masterwork that armor, you can bump it up to like 12 instead of 10 for your mod slots. You know, because you have an energy cost associated. I'd like to see that increase maybe a little bit. Like, to where, oh, it goes up to you have 12 bars you can fill up now instead of 10, because those extra 2 would make a huge difference when it comes to class items and arms especially. I would say, heck, even helmet mods now with the new masterwork orb generators. Like I would say like that would I would have a difficult time choosing between that and my artifice armor.
Yeah.
Like I would have multiple sets of armor at that point. And I think you have to find like a different shtick, for lack of a better word, for each proposition here.
Yeah.
Like each time that you want to go do this, I think it has to be unique enough that veteran play like that, like the hardcore players want to grind it, but even the more casual players are like, oh damn, that is really cool. I got to get an LFG I got to get in there and get at least a piece or 2 of armor.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you fix adept weapons in raids. I have no idea. That is just because you can't like completely imbalance them over everything else. Like making them like the adept weapons in trials is fine, but we've kind of been whelmed by those too.
Yeah.
I just don't know how you do that without creating just this gigantic power vacuum where like the best players are getting even better.
Yeah.
Like it should be something that makes the best players better, but that is not easily, but is feasibly attainable for everybody else.
Right.
And it all starts with removing champions. I would say champions are like one of the biggest impediments to doing master raids and master activities, because especially with the mods being so finicky and like how they change every single season, there's always going to be a different strategy. You got to account for the champions. No, the legendary campaign has shown you how you should be doing this. I do not ever want to see another encounter based around champions. Like master, it's funny, we got the best example of difficult content, and we got the worst in the same week with Master Vox. Like Vox is awful. That is awful on Master. Never again.
Yeah.
Never again. So I don't know. There's got to be some sort of shtick. But it's got it. I think you hit the nail on the head. It's got to be armor. It's got to be armor. Or maybe it's artifice armor, but you can slot your raid mods for free. If you're wearing the raid armor, because right now I don't have a need to keep my raid armor. The mods are not essential, thank God, and they haven't been since Garden of Salvation.
Right.
So, yeah, that's where I stand on it. Do we have that? That was it. Just the 3 questions, right?
Yep. Unless you want to talk 10 minutes about Titans,
I do not want to talk 10 minutes about Titans.
Johnny wanted to talk.
We are ignoring John's question.
Titans rock, John. I hear you. I see you, John.
It's okay. Go scrub your dish towel out.
I don't even think mine's a dish towel. I think it's a loincloth right now.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, they're making them see-through now. So
they are. I want my crotchal region to glow, Josh.
Jesus Christ. All right, that's it. Corey, get us out of here. We're done. Pack it up, boys.
Oh, man. I want to thank everybody for watching and or listening to this episode of Tower Casuals. Remember, you can follow us on Twitter at Tower Casuals, on Instagram at Tower Casuals. You can email the show at towercasuals@gmail.com. If you're listening on Spotify or iTunes, please leave us a 5-star rating and review. It really helps us out with discoverability. We appreciate all you Guardians out there who listen. Josh, where can we find you?
Twitter at Josh_Finn, 2 N's. You can find me live bemoaning the Mavericks postseason troubles right now as we get annihilated by the Phoenix Suns.
That did happen, didn't it?
It has happened. At the time of this recording, we are down 2-0 in the series. It will be 3-0 shortly after this post, I'm sure. Yeah. Between that and the Seahawks trading away our star quarterback, it has not been a good couple months for me in the sports ball world.
Yeah, I'm struggling right now with the Browns.
We had a good draft. It's okay. I believe we're going to turn a corner. And yeah. Get me out of here. Get me out of here, Captain.
You can find me at I am Corey in HD on Twitter and Instagram. You can find me hosting a plethora of other podcasts if you want to check those out over on the Boss Rush Network. So I think that's it, though, Josh. I want to thank everybody for watching and or listening. And until next time, we love you. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.